Ms. Xaza. We are looking to an excellent collaboration that we have had already and that we are ready and willing to continue. Dear guests from the South African Parliament, dear guest speakers, I'm pretty sure that we will have exciting meetings, exciting discussions, and we are going to prepare also for a mutual agreed declaration at the very end. Before I give the floor to Mr. Maumapelo for his welcoming remarks, let me allow to introduce our members of the European delegation to South Africa. And Supra and myself agreed just 1 minute ago that it's much more polite and much more boosting a collaborative atmosphere if you do it yourself. And I have the honor to start with Mr. Gala on my right-hand side, who really was very successfully leading our first IPM in this mandate in February in South Africa from our side. Michael, please, short introduction from your side.
Thank you very much, and very much welcome, colleagues, here in the European Parliament. I'm glad that we can apparently double the pace of meetings, or the sequence of meetings, and not only have once a year, but twice a year for those parliaments from strategic partners. I think that is the criterion to have more meetings. I think when we were in February in Cape Town, that was a horrifying week in a way for South Africa, but not only for South Africa. US aid had been shut down, and this week Rubio didn't come to the G20 foreign ministers meeting. The South African ambassador had been expelled from the US, and Trump was lashing out at an alleged expropriation law that discriminated white farmers. Most of this all was wrong, but I was really, and I have to say, while we were aware what the closure of US aid meant for South Africa, I could proudly say the European Union is not such a partner. We are reliable. When we agree on something, we agree and we implement it, and that is still the case. Now we will, at a later stage, focus specifically on the G20 presidency from South Africa. That is a topic in the afternoon where I will be chairing. Looking forward to that. But all the other issues that are on the agenda are definitely important for us to assess, be it the situation inside the EU, the situation inside South Africa, the regional developments in Southern Africa and Africa at large. There is a lot that must unfortunately raise.
Meeting is happening in extraordinary times, as we all know. Struggles, wars, international disruptions, huge challenges. And I very much appreciate we have the chance to welcome today Honorable Co-Chair meeting. This meeting is happening in extraordinary times, as we all know. Struggles other in the 29th EU-South Africa Inter-Parliamentary meeting. This meeting is happening in extraordinary times, as we all know. Dear friends, dear colleagues, allow us to start with our meeting. We have the honor to see each other in the 29th EU-South Africa Inter-Parliamentary meeting. This meeting is happening in extraordinary times, as we all know. Struggles, wars, international disruptions, huge challenges. And I very much appreciate that we have the chance to welcome today Honorable Co-Chair Mr. Maumapelo. Thanks for coming and leading your delegation. Your Excellency Ambassador Ms. Xala. We are looking to an excellent collaboration that we have had already and that we are ready and willing to continue. Dear guests from the South African Parliament, dear guest speakers, I'm pretty sure that we will have exciting meetings, exciting discussions, and we are going to prepare also for a mutual agreed declaration at the very end. Before I give the floor to Mr. Maumapelo for his welcoming remarks, let me allow to introduce our members of the European delegation to South Africa. And Supra and myself agreed just 1 minute ago that it's much more polite and much more boosting a collaborative atmosphere if you do it yourself. And I have the honor to start with Mr. Gala on my right-hand side, who really was very successfully leading our first IPM in this mandate in February in South Africa from our side. Michael, please, short introduction from your side.
Thank you very much, and very much welcome, colleagues, here in the European Parliament. I'm glad that we can apparently double the pace of meetings, or the sequence of meetings, and not only have once a year, but twice a year for those parliaments from strategic partners. I think that is the criterion to have more meetings. I think when we were in February in Cape Town, that was a horrifying week in a way for South Africa, but not only for South Africa. US aid had been shut down, and this week Rubio didn't come to the G20 foreign ministers meeting. The South African ambassador had been expelled from the US, and Trump was lashing out at an alleged expropriation law that discriminated white farmers. Most of this all was wrong, but I was really, and I have to say, while we were aware what the closure of US aid meant for South Africa, I could proudly say the European Union is not such a partner. We are reliable. When we agree on something, we agree and we implement it, and that is still the case. Now we will, at a later stage, focus specifically on the G20 presidency from South Africa. That is a topic in the afternoon where I will be chairing. Looking forward to that. But all the other issues that are on the agenda are definitely important for us to assess, be it the situation inside the EU, the situation inside South Africa, the regional developments in Southern Africa and Africa at large. There is a lot that must unfortunately raise our concern, especially when it is in some other parts also of Africa, but also in Europe with the war ongoing. And insofar it is good to touch base again and to assess how far we can hopefully agree on common positions on major issues that concern us all. Thank you.
Mr. Lack, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you all for coming out to the European Parliament. My name is Ingeborg de Laak. I'm a member of the Commission for Foreign Affairs, AFET Commission, and I'm also Vice Chair to the Africa delegation here in the Parliament. And from that role, recently we visited Congo, and we have many exchanges about the whole continent of Africa, but South Africa is a very important country within it, and I'm very pleased and excited that you all are here, and I think it's important we deepen our relationship, especially at this moment in time. So thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
by the way, I'm Dutch, but I don't know if that's an advantage. Yeah, talking to all you. Yes, okay.
will be discussed later, I'm pretty sure. Fabio.
Good morning, Molweni nonke. My name is Fabio De Masi. I'm a German-Italian member of the European Parliament elected in Germany. I've been previously with the left group in the European Parliament. Now I'm a non-attached member, and I've been serving throughout my parliamentary mandate always on the South Africa delegation because I have a long-standing relationship with your country. I studied there. My wife is South African. So whatever I do, I will always be forced to deal with South Africa relations at home and here in Parliament.
Welcome, Sebastian. You are ready for a short introduction?
Yes, I am. Good morning, chairs. Dear friends, my name is Sebastian Tynkkynen, first-term MEP from Finland, representing the ECR group, so Conservatives. So sorry for last night that I needed to leave a bit earlier because there was a voting list in the Foreign Affairs Committee to be prepared. And that is actually the reason why I came a bit late, because now we had the vote in the committee, but pleasure to be here.
Then I hand over to Supra for the introductory remarks of your colleagues.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bolman. I'm going to ask our honorable members from South Africa to introduce themselves. My name is Supra Mahumapelo. I'm the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on International Relations and Cooperation. I will start from Honorable Mvana.
Thank you very much, Chairpersons. My name is Nonkosi. Surname Mvana is written in front of me. I am the chairperson of Electricity and Energy. I'm also happy that I've managed to join the team, as we promised that we will see one another again when you were in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Mzwandile Masina. I'm the chairperson, I'm the member of parliament and the chairperson of the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition in South Africa. Thank you very much.
A very good morning to everyone. My name is Dina Pule. I'm the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Agriculture. Thank you very much.
A very good morning to all. I am Tidimalo Lehwase, a chairperson on the Select Committee on Appropriations in the National Council of Provinces, which is another house of parliament.
A very good morning as well from both delegations. Thank you very much. My name is Thokozile Xasa. I'm South Africa's ambassador to the EU. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Fiso Nelson Mangadi. I am with the embassy here in Brussels. Thank you.
So it's my pleasure also to welcome, like last night, Pietro Ducci, our very important boss of the administration, the Internal Affairs Director General of DG Expo. No, I did say external. This is only because he is one of the most knowledgeable insiders, and we have permanent internal deals with each other. That is the very reason for that slip of the tongue. I welcome our secretariats, the Central Secretariat, as well as our individual secretariats, and of course, like last night, Matthew Briand from the External Action Service and Mr. Sanchez Rico from the Commission. So we are looking forward to having excellent discussions. The political challenges have been described. We are ahead of two major agreements that have to be signed between the two parties. So we are working on a trade agreement, CTIP. We are working on an investment agreement, memorandum of understanding. Both of that will be an issue for us tomorrow. We will have high-level debates tomorrow on that. Today, and this is what we would like to offer to you, we have also the chance to have some side events, complementary focus sessions. So after this session, this morning, we will enter into a meeting of the Foreign Affairs and Development Committee, where you are all invited and where you are also expected, if you wish, to take the floor. So that is one of our highlights of today. And then the lunch break will see our lead commissioner for Global Gateway, Josef Sikela, as our guest speaker. So we expect an exciting day. It will be continued during the afternoon with debates on G20 and international relations. So already this first day is going to bring us one highlight after the other. But now I would like to hand over to Supra for his welcoming remarks.
Co-Chairperson Bullman and the collective of the honorable members of the delegation of South Africa, the collective of the delegation of the European Parliament who are here, I greet you this morning and also bring to your attention that I've been here in Brussels since Sunday, and the welcoming has been awesome. It has been good. It has been warm, because we are here also on a mission of the Portfolio Committee on International Relations, and we want to really extend our thanks for the manner in which we have been welcomed here by the Brussels people and its leadership. We take this opportunity on behalf of the Republic of South Africa's Parliament to convey our warm and fraternal greetings to our hosts from the European Parliament. It is an honor to attend this important gathering between us, the South African Parliament and the European Parliament, on this occasion of the 29th SAEU Inter-Parliamentary meeting here in Belgium. It is approximately 8 months since we met for the 28th Inter-Parliamentary meeting in Cape Town in South Africa, where we had a successful inter-parliamentary meeting. I am encouraged to witness that we have kept to our commitment of regular constructive engagements on areas of reciprocative mutual interest. At the 28th IPM, we reaffirmed our commitment to the strengthening and expanding of our long-standing parliamentary partnership in a world facing numerous geopolitical shifts, economic challenges, and trade-related uncertainties. It is important that we continue in enhancing the interparliamentary dimension of our relationship through parliamentary diplomacy. As we engage, we should continue putting the citizens of our regions and the countries at the center of our discussions. The South African Constitution calls on all of us in South Africa, and as members of the South African Parliament, and I quote, to improve the quality of the life of all of our citizens and free the potential of each person and build a united democratic South Africa able to take its rightful place as a sovereign state in the family of nations, close quotation. It is on this basis that we engage with all the partners, domestic and international. We are therefore encouraged that all our partners with the European Union are focused on the people through advancing our mutual interests and promoting mutual trade and investment to improve the lives of the people. South Africa and the European Union have a strategic relationship which has spanned decades. The origins of this relationship can be traced back to the EU member states' support for South Africa's struggle for freedom during the apartheid years as early as the 1970s. Since the advent of democracy in South Africa, relations between South Africa and the EU have strengthened and become strategic, more so in these times of the changing global environments. We continue to strengthen our relations through continuous engagement, trade, investment, and cooperation at various levels, including executive and the legislative arm of our state. We recognize that the SA and EU Inter-Parliamentary meeting have played and will continue to play an important role in strengthening our relations. In times of global economic challenges, major geopolitical shifts and uncertainty, parliamentary diplomacy plays a significant anchoring role in this regard. Our parliament therefore recognizes the value of the strategic partnership and how the partnership has evolved over time in line with the opportunities and challenges of the current times. When we formalized the relations between South Africa and the European Parliament in 2008, issues of mutual interest were significantly different than now. Over the years, we have progressed to include issues of regional integration in Africa through the Africa Free Continental Trade Agreement, climate change, critical and strategic minerals, trade and investment, peace and security, solidarity, and equality, among others. We laid a foundation in the joint statement of the 28th Inter-Parliamentary meeting with emphasis on the persistent global economic challenges, the need to address climate change and the impact thereof on our people, the lack of multilateral approaches to global challenges instead of unilateral has been our option. Honorable members, in the previous IPM, we committed to continue engaging on outstanding issues with the aim of finding sustainable and mutually beneficial solutions, particularly on matters of trade. Furthermore, we are committed to discussing in strategic approach the support that local beneficiation, particularly on the minerals, has to receive. As South Africa, we emphasize that our objective is for local beneficiation of our minerals, as I've already indicated. And in this regard, we have developed policies that will support these objectives, namely the critical minerals and metal strategy, in which there is recognition of the need to develop and revive existing partnerships for the implementation of this particular strategy. In this regard, we are encouraged by the relationship South Africa and the European Union, which will lead to investment for a sustainable world. We welcome the Clean Trade and Investment Partnership announced at the 8th South Africa European Union Summit in March this year, as well as the investment commitments that the European Union has made through its Global Gateway investment. We note the focus on clean energy transition, skills and technology, and the development of strategic industries, including their value chains. We are encouraged by both the side of yourselves and ourselves on the extent to which we are also focusing on matters of sustainable development so that humanity can survive. In conclusion, I must emphasize that the European Union remains a strategic partner for South Africa. The European Union is our biggest trading partner with whom we are going to ensure that we reciprocate. We look forward to a very successful engagement between ourselves and yourselves. Honorable Bullman, I think I will now take this opportunity, honorable members, to introduce Her Excellency, our Ambassador of South Africa, who is responsible for the European Union, Honorable Xasa, Her Excellency, our Ambassador here, to also make some remarks. Over to you, my dear sister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Supra Mahumapilu, our chairperson for International Relations, Portfolio Committee in South Africa, leading the delegation of the Inter-Parliamentary meeting from South Africa with your delegation, chairperson of the delegation relations to South Africa, Dr. Udo Bullman, and the entire delegation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am excited to witness the commitment by our honorable members to ensure that from the parliamentary side, you have realized the commitments to make sure that these engagements are frequent and continue to happen as we move forward to strengthen our South Africa-EU relationship. I have been requested to make a comment on some of the challenging aspects of the relations, but I must first and foremost begin with the good ones so that we can also see to what extent this relationship has moved over the period. I think the chairperson has also indicated even upfront that South Africa and EU have established a strategic partnership that is aimed at advancing mutual economic interests, and EU remains South Africa's biggest trading partner as a bloc, with the reciprocal market access between the parties. And it has shown over the period, because we have very frank discussions over the various matters of our partnership. And up to this stage, South Africa in the past weeks has, with the support of the EU Global Facility, also has been delisted from grey listing, of which we are currently now awaiting the EU processes of clearing us so that we can give full confidence to our business to invest in both areas of our continents. Honorable members, I will also be the first to admit that, like in any relationship, we face a fair share, and at the same time there would be turbulences and challenges. But over the period, even just as we had our last summit in Cape Town, we have proven that the challenges can be manageable as long as we also continue our dialogue. I will not get into the details, but I think when it comes to issues of trade, we have this economic partnership agreement, SADC EU EPA, and most of our South African exports are catered for under this arrangement, and which therefore gives us an enhanced market access and preferential access into the EU. Despite these successes, there are non-tariff barriers like the sanitary and phytosanitary measures that still present challenges in our trade relations, and many also may undermine the gains of this partnership. And therefore, South Africa is pleased at this moment with the progress that we have made in finding workable solutions compared to where we were 2 years ago. There are ongoing discussions on issues of market access that have been anticipated to impact South Africa exports, especially in the areas or in products like citrus, game meat, ostrich poultry, and composite products like amarula and our nougat. We think we are moving into a positive direction, but I must upfront also raise a concern, honorable members, that as we had identified and agreed in January in our officials session, and also towards our IPM in February, we had identified areas that we think could pave a way towards us reaching a consensus in several of the areas. But we find that these are being opened to other products, and therefore it may delay the progress in terms of what we had sought to achieve, which would demonstrate that when we are able to focus on specific areas, we can move some miles. Indicating this, Chair, as we will be discussing further on the trade issues, that with the amarula, I think as far back as February, we were of the indication that within 6 months that process would have been dealt with. But now it is hampered by additional other matters that the EU is bringing on the table, which then shifts the progress and also would not see some of the deliverables that we're expecting that our leaders would be finalizing in the margins of the G20 in South Africa. We had proposed issues with the sustainable aviation fuel, and with that we are stuck because all our technical teams have dealt with the matter, and it remains now with the legislative arm, which can be the only direction that can be given to the fact that the technical discussions have hit a wall in that the legislation does not provide for any of such discussions to go any further. So we are excited that we'll be the first country to launch the critical raw material, the clean trade and investment package, and we hope most of the rest of the projects will be dealt with there, and we still hope that there's room for further discussions on the issues of accumulation and batteries. We have seen that as one of the areas where there would be a win-win benefit for both our countries, where you could create jobs and create jobs on both sides as we establish the manufacturing hubs for both countries. We are yet to really engage even to understand what the member states' issues are on this particular matter. So several of the matters, as well as the issues for the request on regionalization and the issues of citrus, continue to be issues that we have not yet resolved, but our leaders have given us to find a way for a common ground until the next session that they will meet in South Africa. In conclusion, honorable members, there's so much that we've done. there's a generally positive outlook on our relationship, and I think we still can achieve much more, and this is especially true for the fact that members of parliament from both sides are here from their respective legislatures, and therefore there is a very critical role that parliament can play, because you deal with budgets, you approve legislation, you do oversight over the executives, and here is an opportunity that our delegation from the South African Parliament would put across issues as they relate to the role that both parliaments can play. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and we hope that there will be positive outcomes out of this engagement. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you, Honorable Co-Chair. You gave us the history and the vision of our collaboration, and you gave us the successes and the remaining problems, Your Excellency. I'm pretty sure that we are able to deal with that during the sessions. We have space for that here in our official meetings. We have space for that in our side meetings, where you have the opportunity to meet our experts on the respective files from the respective committees. My proposal for now is that we hand over to Matthew Briand to take the floor on behalf of the External Action Service, that we then give our President, Roberta Metsola, the opportunity to address us in a video. Unfortunately, she is not able to be with us today, but she sends us a video message, and that our members are then prepared afterwards to take the floor and to discuss further the issues already on the table. Please, Mr. Briand.
Thank you very much, Co-Chairs Bullman and Mauma Pelo for this opportunity. Honourable members of the South African and the European Parliament, Ambassador Chassa, dear colleagues. It is a real privilege to be here with you today and speak on behalf of the European External Action Service at this inter-parliamentary meeting between the EU and South Africa. I think it has been laid out by all of you. The meeting comes at a particularly important moment in order to take stock of the significant momentum in EU-South Africa relations and the role that parliaments on both sides can play to contribute to this endeavor. 2025 has been a particularly important year for this joint engagement. We had the summit in Cape Town on 13 March, where we agreed and reaffirmed on the ambition of our strategic partnership, but also launched new initiatives. In the meantime, work has continued since the summit. An agreement in principle was reached on some of the main deliverables of the summit. You mentioned CTIP, but also a new minerals and metals partnership. We have also had regular high-level engagements at UNGA at the end of September, as well as most recently in October, when we welcomed the presence of President Ramaphosa and a large South Africa delegation at the Global Gateway Forum. Obviously, ahead of us, we have now the G20 summit under the chairmanship of South Africa, but we also prepare to come to Luanda, Angola, for the 7th EU-AU summit. These engagements are not just simply milestones. I think they also are a sign of the clear joint commitments to address the many challenges that we have and the corresponding opportunities. Let me just highlight 3 of them. First of all, peace and security. The EU and South Africa are logical partners, natural partners when it comes to peace and security and defense matters. As a G20 member and a respected voice in Africa, South Africa plays a central role in regional peace and conflict resolution. And as the EU, we are standing to support and complement your regional efforts, reinforcing African-led approaches, but also bringing strategic, diplomatic, and operational experience. Against this backdrop, this is also the reason why we agreed to launch earlier this year a dedicated peace, security, and defense dialogue. This platform will help us to align priorities and make cooperation more operational, including in the area of peacekeeping training, maritime security, counterterrorism, and cooperation. The second area that I want to stress is our shared agenda for prosperity. Here, it is, I think, the quite timely to look at the broader geopolitical perspective. We are in a context of increasing strategic competition at global level, and the partnership we have between South Africa and the EU stands out, as it is not just a relationship of dependence, but also one of shared purpose and mutual opportunity. Jointly, I think we have been able to make significant steps forward in the area of green transition, driving the digital transformation, strengthening industrial security. For instance, we are seeing clear benefits in consolidating our supply chains, and we want to do so through this partnership. I want here to refer to the recently announced 12 billion Global Gateway package that provides important avenues for additional cooperation in the area of clean energy, infrastructure, digital transformation, skills, innovation. The newly established Clean Trade and Investment Partnership is also a key instrument that will allow us to navigate the geo-economic challenges. For South Africa, it will be the opportunity to expand revenue generation, to create jobs, to deepen industrial developments. For Europe, it will also help secure responsible and resilient supply chains, essential to our collective green and digital future. So I cannot stress enough here the interlinkages and interdependence that these agreements will also foster. But that does not limit to this area. In health also, for example, Team Europe has recently mobilized 700 million euros for vaccine manufacturing, research, digitalization, technical support in order to strengthen Africa's role in global health value chains and improving the resilience against future shocks. Let me take you to what we see as the third pillar of this partnership, multilateral and global governance. We live at a time where the international rules-based order is under pressure, like rarely before. And in this context, the EU and South Africa share a clear commitment to defend, to reinforce the multilateral global order. As the leading African voice in the G20 and the African Union, South Africa can bring this crucial perspective and influence. And it is important to recall that we see eye to eye on a number of crucial issues, from the reform of the international institutions to the respect for human rights. For example, our regular human rights dialogue guides our joint efforts to support human rights defenders, the anti-racism agenda, gender equality, women's empowerment, but also the business and human rights agenda. So we will continue to support South Africa's priorities on climate justice, on a fairer international debt treatment, and on the reform of the international financial institution. We are just a few days ahead of the COP30, and it is essential that climate commitments are met, that climate finance is scaled, and that global action remains anchored in equity and responsibility. I will conclude by referring to welcoming South Africa's leadership in using its G20 presidency to advance a positive, a constructive agenda, bringing the priorities of the Global South to the table, but also championing an inclusive, fair, and rules-based trading system. We know that multilateralism is not smooth sailing. We know that it is under immense pressure. But issues such as geopolitics, trade protectionism, climate change will test our unity. And despite all these challenges, South Africa's presidency has achieved success and has paved the way to a successful summit later this month. A word also on the EU-AU summit, which will take place at the end of November. It will be a unique opportunity to take stock of our commitment to continent-to-continent partnership, but also identify additional avenues for cooperation: peace, security, multilateralism, mobility, migration. The agenda is immense and very rich. Distinguished guests, distinguished members, I just want to stress how the partnership between South Africa and the EU is a blueprint for strategic cooperation. It is grounded in the shared values and common interests, and it delivers real benefits from creating jobs, building resilient economies, to promoting peace, security, and sustainable development. I thank you.
Deputy Director, thank you very much for this very promising and ambitious approach from the European side. We will have the chance to continue on that. We will have the chance also to hear from Mr. Sanchez Rico later on during our meetings, how we can not only continue, but also in our mutual interest to fine-tune our modes of collaboration. Please allow me now to ask our technicians to come in with the contribution of the President of the European Parliament. Is there a contribution? I'm pretty sure there is one. Wow, we have it.
Dear friends, let me start by saying what a pleasure it is to address the EU-South Africa Inter-Parliamentary meeting. You know, I've been a member of this parliament for more than 12 years now, though not quite as long as Udo. And in that time, I've really seen the relationship between the European Union and South Africa grow stronger and stronger. It's a relationship that delivers for people in Europe and in South Africa. You can see it in the jobs created, the investments, and the new opportunities for our businesses and our communities. And it's a relationship that keeps growing. We're now working together on clean energy, on health and vaccines, on digital transformation, and on sustainable growth. And we're investing in modern infrastructure that connects our continents and brings real benefits to people on both sides. What makes our relationship special is that it's genuine. We listen to each other, we try to see the world through each other's eyes. Even when we disagree, we work to find common ground and we turn words into action. Our parliaments play a big part in that because we're closest to people, and that's what keeps our cooperation grounded and focused on results. And of course, none of this happens by itself. It's thanks to the people who make it all work day in, day out. So I would really like to thank from the bottom of my heart my colleague Udo Bullmann for his excellent work leading our delegation, and all of you for your commitment to keeping this relationship strong. In the past months alone, we've seen real momentum in our relations, with the Inter-Parliamentary meeting in Cape Town in February and the South Africa EU summit soon after. Meetings like this help us understand each other better, focus on our shared priorities, and move forward together on what really matters. Now, as we look ahead to the G20 summit in Johannesburg later this month, I want to thank South Africa for its leadership, for keeping issues like sustainability, equality, and fair growth high on the global agenda. South Africa is a strong voice for the global South and a bridge between Africa and the wider world. We value that voice and we count on it, just as you can continue to count on us. So as you meet over the next 2 days, I wish you good, open discussions, and I'm confident that you'll help take our partnership even further. Thank you.
Thanks to our President. Let me tell you a secret. I mentioned that already informally last night. Michel, you know exactly. Pietro, you know exactly. Both of you were fighting severely for getting us here. The rules, the bureaucratic rules. You know, in South Africa also about the bureaucratic rules, but we have even more bureaucratic rules in Brussels. So the bureaucratic rules of the European Parliament would oblige us to only meet once a year. Because once a year we go to South Africa, once a year we are having the chance to invite you. And now, Honorable Supra and myself suggested to see each other a second time, because things are so important. And time is running, and we cannot wait, because whatever you said is right. There's a lot of challenges in this world, and we have to get to work and to deliver and achieve something. And this is why the two of us proposed, let's do another meeting. Let's do another meeting ahead of the G20, because we want to support South Africa to achieve something. We want to support our bilaterals, the negotiations and our forthcoming compacts to be successful. So it needs parliamentarians to push, to influence with their energy and to scrutinize what is going on. And then I went to Roberta, the President of the House. We had a meeting in her rooms, and she asked her services to come in and to listen. And the services were saying, and I may perhaps tell you that as a secret, oh, President, this is so difficult, and you know about the rules. And this is always a very technical question. If we do that, it's completely out of the rules. And then she said, don't you understand? It's South Africa. Don't you understand? It's about the G20. Yeah. And I will never, ever talk about it again, because we are just going to do it. And this is why I'm also grateful to Michel and your whole team, to Pietro for fighting for this achievement, and also Roberta for helping us to come together in this week and to achieve something, This is indeed what we are going to do. And we very much know, before I now open the floor for our colleagues to come in, I very much know it's not about only the one-off. We are looking forward to have the trade agreement. We are looking forward to having the investment agreement. And we are looking ahead for much more. Your Excellency, you named already a couple of the details, a couple of the difficulties. But what we are out for, and Mathieu has called it an avenue, is a process. We are intending to organize a productive process of collaboration in the best mutual interest for our people. So from government, to people to people. This is the idea of us, of our parliamentarian gatherings, of our delegation, of our guests. Get real about achieving something. And that has to benefit our people. This is the motto of our meeting here. And this is what we would like to achieve during the next couple of days, but only as one element in an ongoing process, that has to foresee regulatory dialogues, permanent communication on policy issues, as well as on technical issues. This is what we would like to achieve together with all of you. Having said that, there's coffee. So for those who would like to have coffees in between, please help yourself. You know that this meeting is web streamed, so it's open to the public. We have prepared already for some thoughts for a common declaration. So this is up to our friends also to come in with their ideas and their comments. So we will take care of negotiations in between of our meetings so that we can finalize also a common text at the very end of our meetings. And now the floor is yours. Who would like to come in from the side, perhaps, of our guests? Supa, you would like to give somebody the floor to come in? Take it yourself as you wish.
Thanks very much, Co-Chairperson Bullman. Honorable members, it's really up to ourselves. Any one of you can start. We didn't arrange any particular sequence. We thought we must leave it flexible so that honorable members can express themselves. I didn't indicate that Honorable Mananiso, who was delayed because of logistical problems from South Africa, will be joining us in the course of this session. They have just landed and they are on their way here. So she should be with us, co-chair. She should be with us after lunch. She will be sitting there, Honorable Mananiso. That's her name there. Yeah, so we give anyone who will want to start, honorable members. There's no problem. Okay, Honorable Mvana, over to you.
Thank you, Chairpersons. I just wanted to remind you in terms of Honorable Kancho, you haven't made anything about it. They said he's not coming.
Oh, Honorable Kancho is no longer coming. I think she's in Brazil. Or she's in Germany. Yes. So she's no longer coming. She's just next door here, but she will not make it to this forum. Thank you very much, Honorable Mvana, for that reminder. Okay. Who wants to shoot? Honorable Masina, over to you.
Thank you very much. Let's welcome all the presentations. I think in the main, the ambassador raises quite a number of issues where we've not agreed, including some specific product from citrus, marula, and so on and so on. I would like to know, in the context of what the ambassador was saying, whether or not there has been some technical work that is being done by the EU, and if there is any feedback that can be shared with us. Secondly, on the CBAM, when we had a meeting in Cape Town, there were quite a number of issues, and I think the South African delegation was unanimous in its reservation, and we were hoping that in the ongoing discussions, maybe we could get some feedback in terms of what has been the discussion. Just those two issues for me, I think I'll be very happy to hear if there's any feedback. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you once more, Chairperson. When we were in Cape Town, there was a deliberation and a discussion amongst ourselves in terms of finances on what is it that you think you may be able to do for us out of our concern that we requested you not to think about loan, rather to think of other names in terms of grant, in terms of donating or whatever. I don't know. But I would love to hear again on what have you discussed and agreed upon in that. Maybe you can be able to update us, but if it's still immature for us to get onto that, well, I'm flexible to wait until such time that we have a decision or to get your update on what's going to happen. Thank you.
Substantial questions wrapped in a diplomatic language, if I may say so. Anybody else from our guests? And then I will hand over to our side. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Chair. I just wish to elaborate on one of the matters that I made reference to earlier on, the issue of sustainable aviation fuel that we think could be a win-win should that outcome work positively. Here, with the technical engagements that have been ongoing, we as South Africa have been making a proposal for the necessity to transform and also look at a step-by-step transformation approach. And we have presented what Sasol has done already, where they have, as part of their plant, a sustainable, compliant entity. Of course, the whole plant is not yet green. And in the discussions, overall discussions, we have an indication where the European Union Renewable Energy Directive points to the fact that there would be no delegated acts to provide for flexible allocation. Our issue, therefore, begins to indicate the effort and towards transformation, and the fact that the dealings that we have together is to what extent we can be talking about transition to decarbonize, and therefore find flexibility within the regulations, which is where the deadlock is between the parties as they discussed, that at the moment there's no provision for that. Is there any indication so that we don't have a situation where when our leaders meet, the matter is on the table and continues to be on the table, but if we are talking just energy transition, that has been a discussion, even at the level of the EU deliberations, where we are saying in the partnership, assist us to transition. It cannot be that even on this matter, it would be just a closing off. Do we think there's still a possibility to drive this so that we don't just keep it on the table? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? So we have, yes, please, Honorable Poole.
Thank you very much, Honorable Co-Chairs, Honorable Members. Thank you for this opportunity. Chairpersons, I would like to also, welcome the presentations that we made earlier, and just pick on what the ambassador has raised in her presentation, and also what the Deputy Director Prince has raised. On the ambassador's presentations, she spoke about the issues that are barriers and those that have been removed as barriers, and she refers to the issues around the phytosanitary and sanitary tariffs. And I think in the last meeting that we had in South Africa, we did discuss on these matters, and I would like to really see if there is a progress as we continue to discuss this time around. Then the issue of the issues that were raised by the Deputy Director there, I just want to pick on two of them that he highlighted, one being the peace and security, and the other one, the shared agenda. And I think that we do appreciate the relationship that we have with the EU, and an opportunity to have these bilaterals and the multilateral relations, because those strengthen our democracy through parliaments. And I think that it also talks to the issues of advancing gender equality and to protect human rights. I think the chairperson Pulwat earlier on spoke about the challenges that we've had as South Africa from the beginning of the year in relation to the relationship that we have with, in particular, America and the issues around the tariffs and even issues around one would call it the right wing, issues that a group of South Africans have raised, and they even went to America and raised issues around that were not necessarily what was happening in South Africa, and I think we all know that. So I think that the issues that the Deputy Director has raised on the shared agenda, I think it would help us because some of these issues that were raised tended to destabilize or, the structures of democracy in the country, and we always need our, friends like the EU and the others to be able to come through and be part of the challenges that we face as a country through these bilaterals that we have here, and see how we strengthen the democracy and the unity between or amongst ourselves, and the challenges, in particular the challenges that we have, that we've had and continue to do. But I think the fact that we are hosting the G20 as South Africa, and for the first time in the African continent, I think it helps. And Chairperson, I think I'm glad that you raised the issue around having another meeting, in preparation for the G20, so that these parliaments are able to deal with the issues that affect all the individual countries in the EU, plus South Africa. So I thought I must raise this because I think this meeting gives us an opportunity, or creates an opportunity where we can have more engagements around the issues that we face as the EU in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thanks, dear colleagues, dear friends. You put on the table the full range already of critical issues, I would like to say, which is rightly done so, because I understand this opening debate also as scene setting for the next couple of hours, and today as well as tomorrow, because we will touch upon all these issues in our more detailed conversations with our experts later on, but we will, of course, address them now already. But it's good to have an overview on everything that is at stake at the very moment. That was Honorable Massina on CBAM and related issues. That was Honorable Muyana on finances. That was Your Excellency Xaza on the transformational approach when it comes to Sasol and renewables. That was Honorable Pule on peace, security, multilateralism, and democratic stability. So my idea now is to give the floor, first of all, to Michael Gala to pick up also where we left the issues last time in February, then to go down the road to Fabio De Masi, who asked the floor, and afterwards introduce again Mathieu Briand, who has been on the negotiation side for the detailed things and can perhaps also echo the content of the Memorandum of Understanding and the trade agreement, partially giving answers to that, what you put on the table. Michael, please.
Yes, thank you very much for the input also from the colleagues. And if I start with where we ended, colleague Miana, on possible grants, it was in the context, for instance, when the US aid funds had perished, had gone away for your aid schemes. We were told that 17% of all your budget there was US financed and was lacking. And of course, if you drag out of a co-financed structure 17%, that doesn't mean only 17% is missing, but entire projects might fall away. And then at that time, I said, well, we are, as EU, globally faced with this challenge in multifold areas, be it democracy promotion and schemes in Ukraine or Moldova, to put a European example that were falling away, or something like that. And of course, we as EU, we cannot fully, by no means, substitute the lack of American engagement, but we will have politically to decide on priorities where we could fit in. And if I remember the different aspects that Mr. Briand mentioned, there was something about the 700 million for health and issues. It was, of course, for the whole of Africa, if I'm not mistaken. And then I wonder, indeed, which, so to say, when it comes in concrete to South Africa, what we have put in this regard in order to be helpful to perhaps to some extent substitute the lack of American funding. When it comes to the issues that the ambassador addressed, I think most of them can be better answered from the Commission when they come in the afternoon, if I'm not mistaken. But I would like, from my side, add to these questions that I would like to know. What are the issues, for instance, with citrus? Normally, South Africa, like other countries south of the equator, are on the opposite season, so there is not that direct competition with our producers of oranges, for instance. So well, we've always had, earlier they were called Outspan oranges. We've always had them from Citrusdal or from Ceres, wherever they come from. So have there been additional problems now suddenly? I hope not. I have the question, you refer to game meat and ostrich. I mean, we don't have game meat producing ourselves. So is it really, and apparently South Africans eat it, and I haven't heard of major health problems by eating your own springboks. So I really wonder, is there a real argument, or is it only, to put it bluntly, a pretext to prevent competition or to prevent additional offer on the meat market? Ostrich, I know in my region also there is one ostrich farm, but they produce very little for the local market. There is no ostrich produced in Europe, I think, that can by any means match the demand for ostrich, and it's excellent meat. When I come to, I was really surprised at this Amarula issue, that is an issue. If I understood it correctly, but you normally wouldn't get this idea. Is it true that the Amarula that is sold in Europe has to be filled with European milk? Was that the issue, or did I misunderstand that? Something very strange. As if the South African Amarula that you buy in the duty-free on the way home was something unhealthy. So I really wonder, is it the company Baileys in Ireland that finds such ideas to prevent a competitor for Baileys, because it's more or less, for me at least, as an ignorant, more or less the same taste, Baileys and Amarula, so that Amarula could be substantially cheaper if it were filled in South Africa and delivered to us. These are my questions that I would have. I don't have the answers, but hopefully in the afternoon, at least at the latest from the Commission, unless you also have a detailed insight on that. And when it is about the sustainable aviation fuel, as we are also on the way getting there where we want to be, I think definitely when you have in Sasolburg or in Vereniging or wherever you produce that or changing that, we leave you the time to be on the good track and not, so to say, add additional obstacles in this regard. So I think there are some low-hanging fruit which do not cost us so much, where we could be very much forthcoming towards our South African partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael, for this very comprehensive, pragmatic, parliamentarian and consumer view that you just presented. Fabio.
Thank you very much, Chair. First of all, let me express that I think the reason we are also meeting so often is because I think in Brussels there's also the acknowledgement now. You very often hear nowadays the complaint that there's a new kid on the block in African countries, which is China. But I think this change to a multipolar world is also an opportunity for both of us, because our relationship has to be mutual, beneficial. Also, South Africa has more options in its international relations. The US has taken a detour, so I think that is a great opportunity for us to engage in a more sustainable way and organize our trading relationships. I have two questions, basically to our own Commission services, to Mr. Briand, also to better understand the issues at hand. So on the citrus black spot issue, I remember that already 10 years ago, when I was in the European Parliament, that has always been an issue. It's like the recurrent topic in any EU-South Africa delegation. And I want to summarize it briefly as I understood it. I'm not a farmer, I'm not a food safety specialist, thank God. But I know that the South African argument is basically that a black spot is not a risk to health. It wouldn't thrive under the European climatic conditions, and so it would be more a trade-related measure. There has been an opinion by the European Food Safety Authority in 2014, which basically justified the European measures against citrus black spot, but the South African side has, I think, referred to more recent studies that have supported the South African opinion. So now we hear these different scientific opinions on the issue, and if I understand correctly, those scientific opinions were submitted to the World Trade Organization by the interested parties, and I would like to understand where that issue stands currently. So what is currently going on at the level of the WTO at Geneva, and do our own services in Europe, what do they make of these other scientific opinions that are in the room there? And my second question is on the issue that you raised regarding green energy and the challenge of transformation. I think most of us agree that it's needed that we transform our energy sector. That is highly needed, is also highly needed in Europe to make it more sustainable. However, we also have challenges here in Europe. For example, we have high energy prices right now in my own country, in Germany, and that sometimes endangers even the goal of pragmatic green transition, because, for example, transformation to green steel is nearly impossible if you have very high electricity prices. So I think we face some similar issues where we also have to consider if we hurt our industries in a disproportionate manner and people lose their jobs, they will also not be supportive anymore of green transition. And this is why I think we need a pragmatic approach, and I would like to understand where the exact issue is with relation to CBAM, and what kind of technical assistance maybe could be provided from the European side also to help the transformation happening in South Africa in a way that it doesn't impede on also availability of competitive energy prices there. Thank you very much.
Over to the External Action Service.
Thank you, and thank you very much for your questions. I'll, as Chair you indicated, I think there will also be time over the coming days to go into some of these more specific questions, because I think a lot of those questions will be addressed by the responsible Commission services. But what I can say in order to set the scene First of all, I think it was said, South Africa is the only strategic partner which the EU has in Africa. And I think it is testimony to the importance that we attach to this partnership. I think it was said by the honourable member Demasi that in the context of the geopolitical competition which we are facing, putting together an appealing and attractive EU offer is front and center of our concern when it comes to the engagement with South Africa. What we have now ahead of us, 8 months after the EU-South Africa summit, there will be in 2 weeks' time a meeting of the leaders in the margins of the G20 with the presence of President Ramaphosa and Presidents Costa and van der Leyen to take stock of the progress that has been achieved over the past month. And addressing also a number of the issues that you highlighted. Not going into too much details, but the perspective of signing this clean tech investment partnership also will form the basis for, when it comes to CBAM in particular, for engaging in technical dialogues, technical discussions on the implementation of the carbon border adjustment mechanism, but also address the issue of carbon pricing policies in order to facilitate innovation, sustainable industrialization, and climate targets. This is to say that a lot of the work is already ongoing. I'm not able to give you a concrete picture of where this discussion will take us, but the teams on both sides have been diligently involved since the summit earlier this year. When it comes to Cyprus, the issue is also is the subject of dispute settlement at the WTO. It was mentioned, and here again on the EU side, I can only repeat the commitment for discussion at technical in order to facilitate at technical level to facilitate a solution and a good way forward, including on financial assistance to facilitate compliance with a number of the permanent measures that we have in place. I just want to mention also in terms of the EU offer, we have with the global gateway package that was put on the table at the summit, we have a package of up to 4.7 billion that was presented, declined in three or presented in 3 pillars. One is about advancing the just energy transition for South Africa. Second is about connectivity, green logistics and infrastructures. And third, also to answer to Mr. Galler's comment, indeed, the vaccine production for South Africa, we're going to support the vaccine production with a specific package of 292 million in order to include the provision of training and capacity buildings. The package that was presented at the summit was, 4.7 billion. 2 weeks ago at the Global Gateway Forum, we were able, by bonding together also the contributions of our member states, so EU plus the 27 member states, amount to a global package of 12 billion euros. And I will just conclude on this. I think what we have in the case of South Africa is really the blueprint for cooperation which we want to project. That is